Hello everybody and welcome to the day 10 of the revision. So இன்னைக்கு நம்ம பார்க்க போகுது unit number 3, right? And unit number 1 and 2 ஏற்கனவே நம்ம comprehensive cover பண்ணி நம்மளோட முன்னாடி டேஸ்ல முடிச்சிட்டோம். So if you haven't watched that, I would recommend that you first watch that. And அதுக்கப்புறம் unit number 3க்கு வாங்க, then you will be able to get a comprehensive understanding. இப்போ யூனிட் நம்பர் 3 எதை பத்தி பேசுது? நிறைய பேர் நான் பார்த்திருக்கேன் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ்க்கு அவங்களுக்கு 1 and 2 புரிஞ்சிடும், பட் 1 and 2ல அவங்க என்ஜாய் பண்ண அளவுக்கான கிளாரிட்டி they somewhere feel is lacking in unit number 3. But we are not like that. We will understand every unit in its whole depth because it is a CA examination. Question can come from anywhere, right? So here I'll tell you what we learned in unit number 1 first. In unit number 1, first we focused on contract of sale of goods. Na adu ennadu? Adha unit number 1. Unit number 2 la special stipulations. Stipulations can be conditions or stipulation can be warranty. Adoda variety பத்தி unit number 2 ல பேசணும். யூனிட் நம்பர் 3 எதை பத்தி பேசுனா ஓனர்ஷிப் பத்தி. எப்போ ஓனர்ஷிப் டிரான்ஸ்பர் ஆகும்? ஒரு கான்ட்ராக்ட் ஆஃப் சேல்ல ரெண்டு பேர் இருக்காங்க. ஒருத்தன் பையர் அப்படின்னு இருக்கா, இன்னொருத்தன் செல்லர் அப்படின்னு இருக்கா. செல்லருங்கிறவன் அவனோட கூட்ஸை யாருக்கு விற்கிறா? பையருக்கு விற்கிறா. நான் செல்லர்னா நான் என்னோட கூட்ஸை பையருக்கு விற்கிறேன். இந்த கூட்ஸ்ல ஓனர்ஷிப் எப்போ பாஸ் ஆகும், எந்த மொமெண்ட் எந்த டைம்ல ஓனர்ஷிப் பாஸ் ஆகுங்கிறது தான் யூனிட் நம்பர் 3. ஓனர்ஷிப் பாஸ் ஆகுறதுல அப்படி என்ன பெரிய விஷயம் இருக்கு? எப்போ வேணாலும் பாஸ் ஆகட்டும் அப்படி நம்மளால விட்டுற முடியாது. ஏன்னா யார்கிட்ட ஓனர்ஷிப் இருக்கோ அந்த கூட்ஸோட ரிஸ்க்கும் அவன்துதான். அப்படின்னா என்னது? இந்த போனோட ஓனர்ஷிப் என்கிட்ட இருக்குன்னா இந்த போன் நாளைக்கு உடஞ்சிச்சோ இல்ல கீழே விழுந்துச்சோ, இதோட டிஸ்பிளே போயிடுச்சோ, இல்ல இதோட மெமரியில ஏதோ அந்த ரேம் ஏதோ டேமேஜ் ஆயிடுச்சோ, இது எல்லாமே என்னோட பொறுப்பு. ஐ ஹாவ் டு பேர் த லாஸ். அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு கூட்ஸ்ல யாரு ஓனர்ஷிப்போ ரிஸ்க்கும் அவனோட தான் இருக்கும். யாரு ஓனர்ஷிப்போ ரிஸ்க்கும் அவனோட தான் இருக்கும். ஓனர்ஷிப்பை நம்ம சேல் ஆஃப் குட்ஸ் ஆக்ட்ல ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம். ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி யாருக்கிட்ட ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி இருக்கோ அவன்கிட்ட தான் ரிஸ்க் இருக்கும். ஸோ ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி எந்த மொமெண்ட்ல டிரான்ஸ்ஃபர் ஆகுதுங்கிறது ரொம்ப ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். ஏன்னா ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி செல்லர் கிட்ட இருந்துன்னா ரிஸ்க் ஆஃப் தட் கூட்ஸ் லைஸ் வித் த செல்லர். ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி பையர் கிட்ட இருக்குன்னா ரிஸ்க் ஆஃப் த கூட்ஸ் லைஸ் வித் த பையர். ஸோ ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி எப்போ டிரான்ஸ்ஃபர் ஆகுதுங்கிறத அந்த டைம் எப்போ இது என்னோட குட்ஸ், எப்போ இந்த ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி இஸ் யோர்ஸ் பை த பையர்ஸ், இதை தெரிஞ்சுக்க வேண்டியது ரொம்ப ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். இந்த ஃபுல் யூனிட்டுமே ப்ரிடாமினண்டா அதை பத்தி தான் பேசுது. எப்போ ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி டிரான்ஸ்ஃபர் ஆகும்? when is the property transferred? because with whom the property lies, they are only supposed to bear the risk in the goods. அந்த கூட்ஸ்க்கு டேமேஜ் ஆனாலோ இல்ல அந்த கூட்ஸ்க்கு என்ன ஆனாலோ அதோட ரிஸ்கை யாரு பேர் பண்ணுவா? யாருக்கிட்ட ஓனர்ஷிப் இருக்கோ, யாரு ஓனர், எந்த மொமெண்ட்ல ஓனர்ஷிப் டிரான்ஸ்ஃபர் ஆகுது, அதை டிட்டர்மைன் பண்றது தான் யூனிட் நம்பர் 3. இதுதான் செக்ஷன் நம்பர் 18ல இருந்து செக்ஷன் நம்பர் 44 வரைக்கும் டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. செக்ஷன் நம்பர் 18ல இருந்து செக்ஷன் நம்பர் 44 வரைக்கும் இதை தான் நம்ம என்ன பண்ணிருக்கோம்? டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணிருக்கோம், ரைட்? செக்ஷன் 80 to 44 வரைக்கும் நம்ம அதான் டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணிருக்கோம். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அதுல நான் உனக்கு சொல்லி கொடுக்க போற செக்ஷன் வந்து 19. செக்ஷன் நம்பர் 19 எதை பத்தி பேசுனா, நம்ம ஸ்பெசிபிக் குட்ஸ் பார்த்தோம்ல, அசர்டைன் குட்ஸ் பார்த்தோம்ல, அதுல ஓனர்ஷிப் எப்போ டிரான்ஸ்ஃபர் ஆகும்? நீ ஒரு ஸ்பெசிபிக் குட் இல்ல அசர்டைன் குட்ஸ் வாங்குறேன்னா அதுல ஓனர்ஷிப் எப்போ டிரான்ஸ்ஃபர் ஆகுங்கிறத பத்தி யூனிட் செக்ஷன் நம்பர் 19 இஸ் டாக்கிங். செக்ஷன் நம்பர் 19 என்ன சொல்லுதுன்னா, ஓனர்ஷிப் அசர்டைன் or ஸ்பெசிபிக் குட்ஸ்ல எப்போ டிரான்ஸ்ஃபர் ஆகும்னா when the seller intends to transfer it. When the seller intends to transfer it. When will it be transferred? When the seller intends to transfer it. அப்படின்னா let's suppose I and Sriram entered into an agreement where I told I will give you the goods now itself, payment you can do later. I will give you the goods will belong to you. I am transferring the ownership now itself, payment you will do later. அப்படின்னா இப்போ goodsல இருக்க ownership has passed to Sriram, payment இன்னும் எனக்கு வரல, but still ownership has passed to Sriram. நாளைக்கு இந்த goodsல ஏதோ டேமேஜ் ஆச்சு அப்படின்னா who should bear the loss? Sriram should be bearing the loss. So in this case, by looking at the transaction, it is very clear the buyer and seller, between the buyer and seller, the ownership is transferred immediately. In the particular transaction பார்த்தா என்ன intention தெரியுது? That they want to transfer the ownership immediately. On the contrary to this, there's one more. For example, the same thing, the same good Sriram wants to buy from me, but he's telling, ma'am, I don't have salary right now, so what I will do is I will come next month and I will purchase it. So here we are doing only a agreement to sell. Next month when he gets his salary, he comes and purchases next month. அப்போ ownership என்ன ஆகும், next month தான் transfer ஆகும். அப்போ next month வரைக்கும் இந்த goodsல ஏதோ damage ஆச்சுன்னா அதை யார் bear பண்ணும், செல்லரா நான் தான் bear பண்ணும். So are you able to understand this? If it is a uncertain goods, if it's a uncertain goods or specific goods, when will the ownership be transferred? It will be transferred when the parties are intending to transfer. When the parties are intending to transfer, that is section 19(1). That is section 19(1). Section 19(2) says that parties are intending to transfer. நீ எப்படி தெரியும் பார்ட்டிஸ்க்கு இன்டென்ஷன் எப்போ இருக்கு? இப்போ நான் சொன்ன ஃபர்ஸ்ட் எக்ஸாம்பிள்ல இமீடியட்டா டிரான்ஸ்ஃபர் பண்ண ஓனர்ஷிப்ங்கிற இன்டென்ஷன் இருந்தது. ரெண்டாவது எக்ஸாம்பிள்ல ஃபியூச்சர்ல ஓனர்ஷிப்பை டிரான்ஸ்ஃபர் பண்ணுங்கிற இன்டென்ஷன் இருந்தது. இன்டென்ஷனை நான் எப்படி கண்டுபிடிப்பேன்? For that 19(2) is telling terms of the contract பாருங்க. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் terms of the contract பார்க்கும்போது இமீடியட்டா நான் இப்போ ஓனர்ஷிப்பை ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் பண்ணிடுவேன், ஆனா நீ பேமெண்ட் லேட்டரா பண்ணா போதும். So here immediately the ownership is getting transferred. terms of the contract பார்த்தா தெரியுது. இதே வந்து நான் கேஸ் 2ல பார்த்தேன் அப்படின்னா terms of the contract பார்த்தாலே தெரியுது, அடுத்த மாசம் 10ஆம் தேதி when ஸ்ரீராம் gets his salary தான் அவன் வந்து இதை வாங்க போறான். அது வரைக்கும் goods என்கிட்ட தான் இருக்க போகுது. He is not going to take the possession nor the ownership. அப்படின்னா யார்கிட்ட ownership இருக்கு? என்கிட்ட தான் இருக்கு, இன்னும் ownership transfer ஆகல. terms of the contract பாருங்க, circumstances of the case பாருங்க, அதை பார்த்து தான் you will be able to decide when the ownership is transferred. section number 19(1) என்ன சொல்லுது? ownership, property gets transferred from seller to buyer when they intend to transfer. அவங்களோட இன்டென்ஷன் எப்போ இருக்கோ அப்போ என்ன ஆகும்? ownership transferred ஆயிடும், irrespective of the fact whether payment was made or not made. 19(2) என்ன சொல்லுதுன்னா இன்டென்ஷன் எப்போ இருக்குங்கிறத எப்படி கண்டுபிடிப்போம்? how will we figure out the intention? For that we have to look at the terms of the contract, conduct of the parties and circumstances of the case. நம்மளால அப்படியே ஜெனரிக்கா சொல்ல முடியாது. ஒவ்வொரு கேஸ்ல we'll have to analyze and then only decide when they were intending to pass the ownership. For example, in the example பாரு, Mohan says that DT, my salary will get credited on the 10th of the next month. I will purchase the t-shirt on the 10th of the next month. So here between DT and Mohan is very clear. His salary gets transferred on the 10th of the next month. He wants to purchase on the 10th of the next month. So ownership will also get transferred on the 10th of the next month. அப்போ 10th of the next monthக்கு முன்னாடி அந்த t-shirtல ஏதோ ஒரு டேமேஜ் ஆச்சுன்னா அது செல்லரோட ஓனர்ஷிப்ல இருக்கு. So damages or losses should also be borne by the seller. Is that clear? That is 19(1) and 19(2). 19(3) என்ன சொல்லுதுன்னா in case terms of the contract, circumstances of the case பார்த்து உங்களால இன்டென்ஷன் டிசைட் பண்ண முடியல அப்படின்னா செக்ஷன் நம்பர் 20ல இருந்து 22 வரைக்கும் இருக்கிற 20ல இருந்து 24 வரைக்கும் இருக்கிற செக்ஷன்ஸோட ஹெல்ப் எடுத்துக்கோங்க. 19(3) என்ன சொல்லுது? யூசுவலா நீங்க இன்டென்ஷனை பார்த்து தான் டிசைட் பண்ணும் எப்போ ஓனர்ஷிப் பாஸ் ஆகுதுன்னு. ஆனா இன்டென்ஷனை பார்த்துட்டு டிசைட் பண்ண முடியல அப்படின்னா ரெஃபர் செக்ஷன் 20 to section 24. It will help you in the same. Are you able to understand what is section number 19 saying? 19 says that property, when will property get passed in case of a specific or a ascertained goods? 19(1) says property gets transferred from the seller to buyer in a specific or ascertained goods when they intend to transfer. How will I know when did they intend to transfer? 19(2) says அதுக்கு you have to look at the terms of the contract, எப்படி ரெண்டு பார்ட்டியும் பிஹேவ் பண்ணிக்கிறாங்க, conduct of the party and circumstances of the case. 19(3) என்ன சொல்லுதுன்னா in case you are not able to determine the intent of the parties, refer to section 20 to 24. It will help you. இப்போ 20 to 24 என்ன சொல்லுது? section 20 என்ன சொல்லுது அப்படின்னா உங்க goods ஒரு specific goods and deliverable stateல இருக்கு. specific goods and deliverable stateல இருக்கு. There is no conditions attached to the contract of sale அப்படின்னா immediately the ownership will be transferred. For example, let's say you go to a Chroma showroom, you see a Apple iPhone, okay, you check all the features and you're ready to buy it, right? You have purchased it, and they tell, let's say you purchased a phone as well as a microwave, so they told that they will do free delivery at your house. They told they will do free delivery at your house. நீ அந்த மொபைல் ஃபோனுக்கோ அந்த மைக்ரோவேவ் அவனுக்கோ பே பண்ணிட்ட. பே பண்ணதுக்கு அப்புறம் they told they will deliver it, right? Here is it a specific goods? Yes. Is it in a deliverable state? Yes. In that case, let's say நீ பே பண்ணிட்ட, goods அதோ ஷோரூம்ல இருக்கு, ஷோரூம்ல ஏதோ ஒரு ஷார்ட் சர்க்யூட் ஆயிடுச்சு, ஸோ மைக்ரோவேவ் என்ன ஆயிடுச்சு, டேமேஜ் ஆயிடுச்சு. Now who will bear the loss? The loss of the microwave should be borne by the buyer, because the goods was a specific goods and the goods was in a deliverable state. There were no condition attached to the contract of sale. Immediately the ownership will pass, and the ownership is with the buyer. Abdina, the loss, the damages also has to be borne by the buyer. அப்படின்னா செக்ஷன் 20 என்ன சொல்லுது அப்படின்னா, என்னோட கூட்ஸ் ஒரு ஸ்பெசிபிக் குட்ஸ் பிளஸ் அது டெலிவரபிள் ஸ்டேட்லயும் இருக்குன்னா ஓனர்ஷிப் இமீடியட்டா என்ன ஆயிடும், பாஸ் ஆயிடும். அதுதான் செக்ஷன் நம்பர் 20. செக்ஷன் 21 என்ன சொல்லுதுன்னா, இன்கேஸ் என்னோடது ஒரு ஸ்பெசிபிக் குட்ஸா பட் அது டெலிவரபிள் ஸ்டேட்ல இல்ல, அப்படின்னா அது டெலிவரபிள் ஸ்டேட்க்கு எடுத்துட்டு வந்துட்டு நான் எப்போ அதை பையருக்கு இன்ஃபார்ம் பண்றேனோ ஓனர்ஷிப் பாஸ் ஆயிடும். இந்த எக்ஸாம்பிள் பாரு. பீட்டர் பைஸ் a laptop from an electronic store. ஒரு லேப்டாப்பை வாங்குறான். ஆனா பீட்டர் என்ன சொல்றான் அப்படின்னா, இந்த லேப்டாப்ல எனக்கு ஆப்பரேட்டிங் சிஸ்டமும் இன்ஸ்டால் பண்ணி கொடுங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்றான். இப்போ லேப்டாப்பை ஆப்பரேட்டிங் சிஸ்டம் இல்லாம யூஸ் பண்ண முடியாது. சோ இது ஒரு ஸ்பெசிபிக் குட்ஸ் தான், ஆனா டெலிவரபிள் ஸ்டேட்ல கிடையாது. சோ வாட் இஸ் த செல்லர் டெல்லிங்? இஸ் டெல்லிங், ஓகே சார், நாங்க இதுல ஓஎஸ் விண்டோஸ் ஓஎஸ் இன்ஸ்டால் பண்ணிட்டு உங்களுக்கு இன்ஃபார்ம் பண்றோம், நீங்க வந்து வாங்கிக்கோங்க. In this particular case, it's a specific good but not in a deliverable state. It's a specific good but not in a deliverable state. ஏனா இதுல என்ன இல்ல, OS இல்ல. Let's say OS இதுல இன்ஸ்டால் பண்ணதுக்கு அப்புறம் I inform to the buyer also saying that sir, your laptop is ready, you can come and take the delivery. The specific goods were not in deliverable state. They have been bought to a deliverable state and we have also informed the buyer. இதுக்கப்புறம் buyer வரதுக்கு முன்னாடி, அவன் டெலிவரி எடுக்கிறதுக்கு வரதுக்கு முன்னாடி அந்த goodsல ஏதோ டேமேஜ் ஆயிடுச்சு அப்படின்னா who will bear the damage? It will be borne by the buyer, because ownership in a specific goods which is a non-deliverable state will pass when those specific goods are bought to a deliverable state and you inform that to the buyer. When that is bought to a deliverable state and you inform that to the buyer. For example, look at this. Peter buys a laptop from an electronic store and asks for a home delivery. The shopkeeper agrees to it. However, the laptop does not have a Windows operating system installed. The shopkeeper promises to install it and call Peter before making the delivery. In this case, the ownership is transferred to Peter only after the shopkeeper has installed the operating system in the laptop and he has intimated the buyer about it. Which means if your goods are specific but not in deliverable state, ownership will be transferred when you bring it to deliverable state and intimate about it to the buyer. Okay, next is section number 22, which is specific goods. The deliverable state லையும் இருக்கு, ஆனா இங்க seller has to do something to determine the price. அப்படின்னா என்னது அப்படின்னா, something to determine the price na, maybe they have to scan, maybe they have to weigh it. Now let's suppose you go and pick some t-shirts from Lifestyle. You go to the billing counter, they are scanning each t-shirt, they are scanning and keeping it. Let's say scan பண்ணி வைக்கறாங்க. நீ 5 t-shirt வாங்கிருக்க, 5த்தையும் ஸ்கேன் பண்ணி முடிச்சதுக்கு அப்புறம் தான் எனக்கு அந்த 5 t-shirtோட டோட்டல் பிரைஸ் தெரியும். அந்த கேஷியர் ஸ்கேன் பண்ணி வைக்கறாங்க, பின்னாடில இருந்து யாரோ அதை திருடிட்டு போறாங்க. ஸ்கேன் பண்ணி வைக்கறாங்க, பின்னாடில இருந்து யாரோ திருடுறாங்க. You tell me the losses of the shop Lifestyle or it is my loss? Obviously the losses of the shop Lifestyle. ஏனா இங்க specific goods தான் deliverable stateல தான் இருக்கு, ஆனா you have to do something to determine the price. When you complete that scanning, when you complete that barcode scanning only, you will know the price. Before determining the price, something happens to the goods. The seller has to bear the loss because it's a specific goods in deliverable state, but something has to be done to determine the price. அப்படினா அந்த the something has to be done to determine the price இருக்குல அது determine பண்ணதுக்கு அப்புறம் தான் it is the buyer's ownership, அது வரைக்கும் it is the seller's ownership. Is it clear? Is it clear? So if we summarize 20, 21 and 22, அது எதை பத்தி பேசுது? 20 talks about specific goods in a deliverable state, ownership will pass immediately. In case it's a specific goods not in a deliverable state, you bring it to the deliverable state and intimate about it to the buyer, ownership will pass. Section number 22, specific goods deliverable state but something has to be done to determine the price அப்படினா when that something is done to determine the price, after that the ownership will pass. Is that clear? Next is section number 24. So 19 done, 20 done, 21 and 22 is done. Next is section number 24. What is section number 24 saying? When goods are sent on approval or return basis. When you send the goods on approval or return basis, அப்படினா என்னது? நான் உனக்கு goods அனுப்புறேன், நீ கொஞ்ச நாளைக்கு யூஸ் பண்ணு, உனக்கு பிடிச்சிருந்தா you have it, otherwise you can return it. If you like it, you buy it, otherwise you can return it. The goods are sent on approval or return basis. The goods are sent on approval or return basis. When will ownership pass? In case the goods are sent on approval or return basis, the ownership will pass in the following cases. When the buyer gives acceptance or approval of the seller. Let's say நான் என்னோட காரை ஒரு test drive I gave it to Shriram. I told him, hey, you use it, if you like it for 3 days, you use it. If you like the mileage that it gives, the comfort in the car, the driving comfort, everything, if you like it, you purchase it. அப்படி நான் ஸ்ரீராம்க்கு 3 daysக்கு என்னோட காரை கொடுக்கிறேன். 3 days அவன் யூஸ் பண்ணதுக்கு அப்புறம் கால் பண்ணி, மேம் I really like the car, I will purchase it ன்னு சொல்றான். explicitly என்ன கொடுக்கறான்? acceptance கொடுக்கறான், explicitly approval கொடுக்கறான். அப்படினா ownership will pass the time he gives his acceptance. Ownership will pass the time he gives his acceptance. This is case 1. Case 2 is இவன் acceptance கொடுக்கல. acceptance நான் வாங்கிக்கிறேன் மேம், எனக்கு பிடிச்சிருக்குன்னு சொல்ல, ஆனா ஒரு ரீசனபிள் டைம்க்கு மேல யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டே இருக்கான். நான் அந்த காரை எத்தனை நாளைக்கு ட்ரையலுக்கு கொடுத்தேன்? 3 டேஸ்க்கு கொடுத்தேன். 3 டேஸ்க்கு அப்புறமும் இவன் யூஸ் பண்றான் அப்படின்னா அதோட மீனிங் என்னது? that he wants to purchase it, that he has the intention to purchase it, that he has approved the goods. That means the ownership has passed, right? First is within the time limit he is giving his acceptance. Ma'am, I like the car, I'll purchase it. Second is he is not calling, he is not giving his acceptance explicitly in an expressed manner, but after the prescribed time period also, he is using it and he did not give notice of rejection. எனக்கு வேணான்னு சொல்லல, prescribed time க்கு அப்புறம் ரிட்டர்னும் பண்ணல, யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கான் அப்படினா அதுக்கு என்ன அர்த்தம்? that he is intending to purchase it. So ownership will pass to him. Third case is when he is adopting any transaction which shows that he has approved the sale. Ma'am, give example. Let me give an example. I gave a car to Shriram. Saying that 3 days you use it. If you like it, you buy. Otherwise, you return it to me. I come to know on the third day that Shriram, the car that I sent in blue color, he is coloring it in black. You tell me, when can you make a modification to a car? When it is your car. Here, Shriram is making modification to a car which I sent him on sale or approval basis. நான் அவனுக்கு எதுல அம்ச்சேன்? sale or approval basisல அம்ச்ச ஒரு காருக்கு அவன் modification பண்றா அப்படினா இன்டைரக்ட்டா அவன் என்கிட்ட என்ன சொல்ல வரான்? that I have accepted the sale. Are you able to understand, people? Are you able to understand? So in sale or approval basis, when will ownership be transferred? One is he explicitly tells that buyer gives his acceptance or approval, ownership is transferred. Buyer retains the goods without giving a notice of rejection and he is retaining after the prescribed time or a reasonable time. That means ownership has passed. Third is he is adopting some transaction. என்னோட கார்ல modification பண்றான், என்னோட காரை போய் பேங்க்ல pledge பண்ணி லோன் வாங்கிட்டா. நீ எதை pledge பண்ண முடியும்? which is your asset. நீ என்னோட asset pledge பண்ற அப்படினா அதுக்கு என்ன அர்த்தம்? that you have accepted the sale. So the ownership will pass to you, right? So this is from section number 19 to section number 24. Quick-ஆ நான் ரிவைஸ் பண்ணிடுறேன். section number 19 என்ன சொல்லுதுன்னா, நம்ம ascertained or specific goodsல எப்படி ownership கண்டுபிடிப்போம்? 19.1 says that look at the intention. And the parties oda intention paru. 19.2 intention eppadi kandupidipa? Look at the terms of the contract, conduct of the parties or circumstances of the situation. 19.3 என்ன சொல்லுதுன்னா, in case intent கண்டுபிடிக்க முடியல, terms of the contract, conduct of the parties, circumstances of the situation which I am not able to determine, what am I supposed to do? Go from 20 to 24. அத பத்தி யார் சொல்றாங்க? 19.3 என்ன சொல்லுது? கண்டுபிடிக்க முடியலையா? Go to 20 to 24. 20 says if it's a specific goods in a deliverable state and there is no conditions to the contract of sale, the ownership will pass immediately. 21 says if it's a specific goods not in a deliverable state, bring it to a deliverable state, inform about it to the buyer, the ownership will pass. And section 22 says it's a specific goods in a deliverable state, but something has to be done to ascertain the price. Do that something, ascertain the price, and then ownership will be transferred. 24 says that if you have sent your goods on sale or return basis, if you sent your goods on sale or return basis, 3 cases ownership will pass. First, if he explicitly calls and tells I will purchase it, I accept the goods, then ownership will pass. Second, he is not given his acceptance. He is not given a notice of rejection also, and he is using the goods after a prescribed time or after a reasonable time. It is assumed that he has accepted. And third case is when he is adopting a transaction, pledging your car, modification, coloring the car. All of this means that he has adopted the transaction, right? So that is section number 19 to 24 relating to specific and ascertained goods. Now let's move on to uncertained goods. Next is section number 18 and 23. 18 and 23 talks about when is ownership transferred in case it is a unascertained goods. In case it is a unascertained goods, adula ownership எப்போ transfer ஆகுங்கிறது 18 and 23. 18 என்ன சொல்லுதுன்னா, in case it's a unascertained goods, when you ascertain it, that is the first condition to transfer the ownership. Abdina, let's say there's a whole bag of sugar that is there. Okay, unascertained goods. From that, let's say you take 2 kgs of sugar. Shriram is calling me and telling, ma'am, keep 2 kgs of sugar ready. I'll come and collect it. Now I take the 2 kgs from a whole bag of unascertained goods. I take the 2 kgs which this guy wants. That means I am ascertaining it, which is the first condition to transfer ownership. First condition is what? Goods must be ascertained. In case you want to transfer the ownership in unascertained goods, first the goods must be ascertained. From the whole bag of rice, you pick 3 kgs and pack it. From the whole bag of sugar, you take 2 kgs and pack it. In case of unascertained goods, when will ownership pass? Section number 18 says the first condition is from unascertained, you have to make it ascertained. From unascertained, the goods must be ascertained, right? Where there's a contract for sale of an unascertained goods, no ownership is transferred to the buyer unless and until the goods are specifically identified. You take the 2 kgs and you keep it separately, then only we will talk about transfer of ownership. That is section 18. That is only one thing it says, unascertained should be made ascertained. 23 says that when will ownership pass in an unascertained goods? When the goods of the description mentioned in the contract, he told 2 kgs of brown sugar. When the goods of the description mentioned in the contract are produced or obtained, let's say I am the person who produces brown sugar. I produce brown sugar. I kept 2 kgs separately for this guy. From the whole block of sugar that I had, 2 kg na thaniya eduthu vekkaren. Or let's say I'm a supermarket, he places an order saying, I want 2 kgs of brown sugar. I go and keep 2 packets separately from them. So here, the first condition is the unascertained should be made ascertained. The second condition is the goods of the description that is mentioned should either be produced by you or it should be either obtained by you. The third condition is they must be in a deliverable state. I'm making it from unascertained to ascertained, right? I'm bringing them in a deliverable state. I'm packing it properly. I'm bringing them to a deliverable state. And the third is the most important condition. The goods must be unconditionally apportioned. Apportioned அப்படினா என்னன்னா, apportionment அப்படினா தனியா எடுத்து வைக்கிறது, selection. அந்த 100 kg சுகர்ல இருந்து இவனுக்கு எவ்வளவு தேவை 2 kg, அதை நான் செலக்ட் பண்ணி தனியா வைக்கிறேன்ல, அத பேர் அப்போர்ஷன். ஆனா அன்சர்டைன் குட்ல அப்போர்ஷன் மட்டும் இருந்தா பத்தாது, அன்கண்டிஷனல் அப்போர்ஷன் நம்மளுக்கு வேணும். அன்கண்டிஷனல் அப்போர்ஷன்மெண்ட் அப்படின்னா என்னதுன்னா, there should be no if and but attached. There should be no if and but attached. அப்படின்னா let's say Shriram is my regular customer. Every day his whole family has been purchasing from my supermarket only for the last 20 years. I told my delivery boy, I told my delivery boy, hey, take this 2 kgs, hey, take this 2 kgs, give it, deliver it to Sriram's house. Kaasa pattiyala edume kekade. We have a relationship. By the end of the month, he usually settles. So here I am selecting, I am apportioning the goods, and there is no condition attached. I didn't tell Sriram only when you pay the price I will send the goods. No, it was unconditionally apportioned. There was no, the seller, that is me, I did not reserve the right to dispose. I did not tell my delivery person only when he gives you that 500 rupee note you are supposed to give the delivery. No, I told him, give it to him. Don't ask. If he pays, take it. If he does not pay also, don't ask about money, because we have been trading for a long time. He will usually settle at the end of the month. So here the apportionment is unconditional. The apportionment is unconditional. So in section number 23, the apportionment should be unconditional. Ma'am, what if it's a conditional apportionment? That is section 25. We'll do it next, right? For 23, it is a unconditional apportionment. And the last is I need to get the assent of the party. I need to call Sriram and tell, hey, listen, will you come and collect it, or should I send my delivery boy? I need to get the assent of the other party. When all of this is done, the ownership in the uncertain goods is transferred. For example, let's take an example. Sriram places an order, 2 kgs of brown sugar avanku venundra. Na enoda whole sack enkitta 100 kg brown sugar irukku, adula inda 2 kg eduthu thaniya vekkren. Appo uncertain na enna naakiten ascertain. Section number 18 is satisfied. 23 la does the good match the description? Yes, he told me brown sugar. Does it match the description? Yes. And have I produced or obtained it? Yes. So first 23 oda first condition satisfied. 23 oda rendavathu condition enadhu? It should be in a deliverable state. Avanku apdiye kaiyila eduthu kudupiya? No, you will pack it properly. So packing is done. It is in a deliverable state. Moonavathu condition, unconditionally apportioned. When I selected, I did not have an intention. Only if Sriram pays, I will give it to him. No. We have a long relationship. His father, grandfather, everybody has been purchasing from our shop only. We will usually settle at the end of the month. I never thought about the money. Immediately I wanted to give him the goods. It was an unconditional apportionment. And the last is, I called him and asked. I got his assent. I got his acceptance. Hey, whether I should deliver or you will come and take. It's ready. Whether I should deliver or you will come and take. Sriram told, I'm coming through that way only. 2 minutes la vandruva ma'am. I'll collect and go. Here, the moment he gives his assent, the ownership is transferred. In that uncertain goods, the ownership is transferred. Now let's say, Sriram oda packet na thaniya or orama vechita. Avan sonna 15 minutes la vandren. Na thaniya or orama vechita. Ippo and the sugar la yaro theriyama water spill pannitaanga. Who will bear the loss? Sriram will bear the loss, because the ownership is transferred. So in uncertain goods, when is ownership transferred? When the uncertain are made ascertain, and when it is unconditionally apportioned, when it is bought in a deliverable state, when the goods are either produced or obtained by us. And the last is, you get the assent of the person. The moment you get the assent, the ownership is transferred. Who has the ownership will bear the loss. So that is your section number 18 and 23. I hope you understood 18 and 23, right? So 18 paniyachi, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 paniyachi. 25 is nothing but conditional apportionment. Conditional apportionment na enadhu? எனக்கு ஸ்ரீராமா அவ்வளவா தெரியாது. ஹோம் டெலிவரி ஆப்ஷன் என்கிட்ட இருக்கு. அவன் கால் பண்ணி ஆர்டர் பிளேஸ் பண்றான், அவன் அட்ரஸ்லாம் கொடுத்துட்டான். நான் என் டெலிவரி பாய் கிட்ட என்ன சொல்றேன்னா, அவர் காசு கொடுத்ததுக்கு அப்புறம் நீ கூட்ஸை கொடு, அவர் வீட்டுக்கு போ, அவர் காசு கொடுத்ததுக்கு அப்புறம் நீ கூட்ஸை கொடு. This is a conditional apportionment. The seller reserves the right of disposal. I told I will dispose the goods, I will give you the goods only when you make the payment. It's a conditional apportionment. That is section number 25. So when will the ownership be passed in a conditional apportionment? When he makes the payment, then only I'll give the goods. That time ownership will pass. Is that clear? 18 to 25, all sections done. Is it absolutely clear, people? After 19 to 24 and 18 and 23, the section that we are going to do is section number 26. 26 says that risk prima facie passes with the property. யாருக்கிட்ட கூட்ஸோட ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி இருக்கும் அப்படின்னா, யாரு கூட்ஸோட ஓனரோ அவனுக்கு தான் ரிஸ்க்கும் இருக்கும். அந்த கூட்ஸ்ல ஏதோ டேமேஜ் ஆச்சுன்னா, who will bear the loss? The owner will bear the loss. If the seller is the owner, he will bear the loss. If the ownership or if the property has been transferred to the buyer will bear the loss. And usually who has the ownership, who has the property will only bear the risk also. This is the general rule. This is the general rule, but there are certain exceptions to that. There are certain exceptions to that. இதோட முதல் exception என்னன்னா delay in delivery. Delay in delivery. நான் கிளாஸ்ல ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொன்னேன். Do you guys remember? Let's say people are going to come to see Abhijit for a marriage. You remember that example that I told in the class? They come. And what he has to do? He has to serve juice to everyone. He has to serve juice and snacks and everything to everybody. So he placed an order. He placed an order with a sweet shop owner. ஒரு sweet shop owner கிட்ட இவன் order place பண்ணா அந்த sweet shop owner எல்லாத்தையுமே 10 மணிக்கு ரெடியா வச்சாரு. பட் இவன் எப்போ வந்து கலெக்ட் பண்ணா 1 PM. When the sweet shop owner kept it ready? 10 AM. Because he only told, they both agree. But இவன் எப்போ வந்தான் 1 PM. 1 PM kulla the goods enna aiduche completely damaged, because those are all perishable goods, right? They got completely damaged. Now you tell me who will bear the loss? Ideally when it's a specific goods and it is brought to a deliverable state, the ownership will pass. Even though the ownership will pass or the ownership is still there with the seller, here the delay, who caused the delay? Abhijit. So who will bear the loss? Abhijit. Are you able to understand? Are you able to understand? Right? Here, who caused the delay? They will only bear the loss. Where the delivery of the goods has been delayed because of fault of buyer or seller, because of whom the delay happened, they will only bear the loss, irrespective of the fact whether ownership is with the seller or ownership is with the buyer. யாருக்கிட்ட ownership இருந்தாலோ யாருனால அந்த delay cause ஆயிருக்கோ, they will only have to bear the loss. So this is one of the exception where ownership is with someone else and risk is with someone else. Though still the owner is the sweet shop wala who is bearing the loss. Who is bearing the loss? Abhijit. Why? Because your delay was caused by Abhijit. So this is the first exception to section number 26, because 26 says that risk will prima facie go with the person who has the property of the goods. But the first exception is if delay is caused because of that damage happens in the goods, then whoever caused the delay will have to bear the risk, irrespective of the fact whether he has the ownership or not. Whether he has the ownership of not. Next is special agreement between buyer and seller. Let's say Abhijit is ordering Ooty Lendi is ordering apples. Let's suppose he is ordering apples from Ooty. Now Abhijit sits in Chennai. This apple trader sits in Ooty. Now Abhijit is calling and telling that Ooty oda apple trader that the moment you load the apples in the truck, the moment the movement starts, the goods belong to me, because specific uncertain goods, they are bought to uncertain. They are uncertain goods bought to an uncertain state. They are either produced or obtained. They are in a deliverable state, and you get the assent. What will happen? Ownership will pass. Abhijit tells, I know, as per Sale of Goods Act, the ownership has passed. But your truck driver drives in a very rash manner. அவன் என்ன பண்றான்? Rash mannerல drive பண்றான். இதனால என்ன ஆயிடுது? Usually இந்த apples வரும்போது பாதி apples damage ஆயிடுது. So this time, though ownership is mine, risk will be yours. Because he is your driver, அவன் ஒழுங்காவே ஓட்ட மாட்டேங்கிறான். By the time he reaches Chennai, unnecessarily he makes a delay of 2 days, because of which some apples are getting damaged. Rash ஓட்டுறான், because of which the apples are getting damaged. So though I have the ownership, the moment it is loaded in the truck, I have the ownership, but still the risk will be yours. So here, by a special agreement between the buyer and seller, they are separating the risk and the ownership. Usually, as per section 26, who has the risk? Who has the ownership? Prima facie, risk is with the person who has the ownership, but this is an exception to that. Where by a special agreement, the buyer and seller are agreeing to separate the risk and the ownership. And the third is usage of trade. As per usage of trade, as per customs itself, if risk is with someone else, ownership is with someone else, risk has been passed up. Ownership has been passed to the buyer, still risk is with the seller. Ownership has been passed to buyer, but still risk is with the seller. And the usage of trade, customs, tradition, badi and the then we will have to follow it. Nothing can be done, right? So generally, who has the ownership, they are only supposed to bear the risk. But the exception to that is, in case there's a delay in the delivery, because of whom the delay happened, they will bear the risk. In case there's a special agreement between the buyer and seller, where they are separating separating the ownership and the risk, then it will be separate. Third is as per customs. If we do it separately, as per customs, ownership is with someone, risk is with someone, like that. As per customs, if it happens, then what will happen? Then what will happen? In that particular case also, risk might be with someone else, buyer, ownership will be with seller, or ownership with the seller, risk with the buyer. Can it be separate? Yes, if it is accepted by usage of trade, right? And the last point is says that nothing in this section, that means nothing in this section shall affect the responsibility of the bailee. Just because you don't have the ownership, just because you don't have the risk, does not mean you will behave in a careless manner, does not mean you will behave in a careless manner. Though you do not have the risk, though the ownership has passed to the buyer, still you have to behave in a responsible manner. In case because of your negligence, because of your irresponsible behavior, some loss is caused, then the person who's causing the loss has to bear the risk, irrespective of the act or any special agreement. Just because the ownership is transferred, just because the other party now has the risk, you cannot behave in a negligent manner. அப்படி நீ negligent mannerல பெயிலியோ இல்ல கேரியரோ behave பண்ணா அப்படினா நீ என்ன பண்ணணும்? risk bear பண்ணி ஆகணும், irrespective of the fact that what is written in the agreement, we don't care. You behaved in a negligent manner. Just because you don't have the ownership, just because you don't have the risk, you cannot behave in a negligent manner. If you do so, nothing in this section will be applicable. You only have to bear the risk. That is your section number 26. Is that over? So section number 18 to section number 26, I hope it is absolutely clear. Next is section number 27, which is no one can transfer a better title than what he himself has. அப்படினா இப்போ என்னோட ஒரு கார் இருக்குன்னு வெச்சுக்கோ, I am giving that particular car to Sriram. I am only giving the possession. I am telling him that 2 days you use it. Okay, he wants it 2 days. I tell that you use it. Now Sriram sells this car to, let's suppose, Abhijit. Sriram sells this car to Abhijit. He takes money, he sells it. Abhijit also purchases it in a good faith. But does Abhijit get the better title? The answer is no. Sriram ku enna the possession. Appa Abhijit ku enna da irukku possession. Because no one can transfer a better title than what he himself has. Here, Sriram has the title. Does he have the title? No, he has only the possession. So when he passes it to someone, he can only pass the possession of the car, not the ownership. So no one can pass a better title. The whole game here is in the word better title. No one can pass a better title. Title means ownership. No one can pass a better title than what he himself has. Are you able to understand? No one can pass a better title than what he himself has. That is called nemo dat quod non habet. Which means no one can pass a better title. If I am the true owner and I sell it to somebody, he will also become the true owner. If I have stolen it, I sell it to somebody, he also gets a defective title. No one can pass a better title than what he himself has. That is nemo dat quod non habited. But that's not our main purpose, because that is the general rule of 27. We are more interested in its exception. First exception of 27 is a mercantile agent. Mercantile agent. So section 27 of proviso is very, very important. Mercantile agent. Let's say I'm a person who deals in rice, and Abhijit is a rice agent. I will give him 100 kgs of rice and tell that you sell it to the customers. Now here, I am the principal, this guy is the agent. I am the principal, this guy is the agent. The goods belong to me. I've only given him the possession and told that you sell it to customers. Now you tell me, if customers buy this, will they become good? Will they get the good title? The answer is yes. Ma'am, but Abhijit does not have the good title. That's why it is the exception. In a case of a mercantile agent, though the agent does not have the title, did he purchase it from me? Did Abhijit purchase that goods from me? No, he's selling it on my behalf as my agent. He only has a possession. But still, when he for a consideration sells it to somebody, that someone gets a better title. So this is an exception. Usually nobody will get a better title, then nobody will be able to pass a better title than what they themselves have. Abhijit does not have the ownership, but still when he sells it in the capacity of an agent, the person who buys it gets a better title than Abhijit. He was not the owner, but they become the owner of the rice. Are you able to understand? Are you able to understand? If you are able to understand this point, then this whole proviso is easy. No one can pass a better title. பெட்டர் டைட்டில்னா என்கிட்ட இல்லாத ஒரு டைட்டிலை என்னால பாஸ் பண்ண முடியாது. நானே யார்கிட்ட இருந்து தேடி இருக்கேன் அந்த குட்ஸ், என்கிட்டே டிஃபெக்டிவ் டைட்டில் தான் இருக்குன்னா நான் பாஸ் பண்ணனா அவன்கிட்ட என்னதான் இருக்கும் டிஃபெக்டிவ் டைட்டில். பட் அதோட முதல் எக்ஸெப்ஷன் மெர்கன்டைல் ஏஜென்ட். Mercantile agent is an example where he can pass a better title than what he himself has. அவன்கிட்ட பொசிஷன் மட்டும் தான் இருக்கு, பட் அவன் அந்த கஸ்டமருக்கு விற்கும் போது கஸ்டமருக்கு என்ன கிடைக்கும்? பெட்டர் டைட்டில். That is what is an exception of the principle of section 27 nemo dat quod non habet. Are you able to understand? Are you able to understand? Look at this, look at this. In case a mercantile agent wants to transfer a better title, he has to fulfill 4 conditions. First condition enna paakalama? First condition is mercantile agent is in possession of goods or he has the document of title. Either he should have the goods or he should have the document of title. Look at the example. A gives 100 bags of rice to B. A is giving the rice to B, who is a mercantile agent. So B is here the mercantile agent. Why am I giving it to him? So that he can sell it on A's behalf. On A's behalf, he can sell it to the customers. B is therefore in lawful possession of goods with A's consent. He's having the goods with A's consent. First condition is fulfilled. Mercantile agent is in possession of goods or has the document of title. Second condition, the agent sells the goods in ordinary course of business. The work of B itself should be to sell and buy goods, buy and sell goods. Right? B is a rice commission agent. அப்படினா அவனோட வேலை என்னது? இதுதான். A gives him rice to sell. B sells the rice to C in normal course of his business as a commission agent. It is his normal course of business. Second condition satisfied. Third condition, buyer buys it in good faith for value. Here let's say a customer goes, C buys the rice from B for rupees 50,000, believing that B has the authority to sell. A customer goes and buys it from the mercantile agent in good faith and for a consideration. Fourth and the last point is the buyer should have no notice that the seller has no authority to sell. For example, when A gave the goods to B, he specifically told 50,000க்கு கீழ விக்க கூடாது. Mercantile agent கிட்ட நான் என்ன சொன்னேன்? 50,000க்கு கீழ விக்க கூடாது. But mercantile agent அது எவ்வளவுக்கு வித்துட்டான்? 45,000. Did the customer know that you are not supposed to sell it below 50,000? No, customer did not know about it. Here the buyer has no notice that the seller has no authority to sell. Other 50,000க்கு கீழ செல் பண்றதுக்கான அத்தாரிட்டி அந்த ஏஜென்ட் கிட்டயோ இந்த அந்த செல்லர், ஏஜென்ட் இஸ் நத்திங் பட் தி செல்லர் கிட்ட இல்லங்கிறது பையருக்கு தெரியாது. அது தெரியாம அவன் 45,000 ரூபாய்க்கு வாங்கிட்டானா he gets a good title, he gets a better title. So can a mercantile agent pass a better title? The answer is yes. For him to pass a better title, 4 condition has to be satisfied. First condition, mercantile agent is in possession of the goods. Second condition, the agent sells them in the ordinary course of business. மூணாவது condition, the buyer buys it in good faith for a value. And நாலாவது condition, the buyer has no notice that the seller has no authority. If you fulfill all these conditions, and if a mercantile agent fulfills all this condition, anybody who is buying goods from that mercantile agent will get a better title than the mercantile agent himself has. Is that absolutely clear? That is your entire section number 27. Let's move on to the next section, section number 28. Now we are going to be doing the last important set of sections of this particular chapter, which is section number 28 and the section number 30 வரைக்கும். 28 என்ன சொல்லுது? Sale by joint owners. Let's take an example. A, B and C are joint owners of the car. A, B and C மூணு பேரும் சேர்ந்து they have a car. They are 3 of them are the joint owners. இப்போ with the permission of B and C, let's say they are not in Chennai, they live in Bombay. So B and C gave that car or a sole possession to A. Owners மூணு பேர் தான், ஆனா பொசிஷன் யார் கிட்ட இருக்கு? A கிட்ட இருக்கு, because A is only there in Chennai. Okay, now A sells this car to D. Now A only has the sole possession, still the owners are all the 3 of them. A, B, C மூணு பேருமே தான் ஓனர். A கிட்ட என்ன மட்டும் தான் இருக்கு? சோல் ஓனர்ஷிப்ல சோல் பொசிஷன் மட்டும் தான் இருக்கு. A அந்த காரை யாருக்கு வித்துட்றாங்க? A sells that car to D. D also buys the car in good faith. And D has no knowledge that A does not have the authority to sell. In that case, will D get a good title? The answer is yes. Will D get a good title? The answer is yes. If he purchased it in good faith and he did not know that A does not have authority, still he purchased it, will D get a good title? The answer is yes. That is section number 28. Section number 29 says that sale by person in possession under voidable contract. Look at this example. A gets a car from B by fraud. So here, in case the car is obtained by fraud, the consent is not free. If the consent is not free, the contract is voidable. Voidable at the option of the aggrieved party. So A obtains a car from B by fraud. So in this case, who is the aggrieved party? B. So if B wants, he can resign the contract, he can cancel the contract, right? So if B wants, until then the contract will be valid, but if B wants, he can make the contract void. So it is voidable at the option of the aggrieved party, which is B in our case. In this particular case, A and B the contract when they voidable, and before A could cancel the contract, before A could resign the contract, before B could resign the contract, A sells the car to C. A sells the car to C. Before B could resign, B is the person who is the aggrieved party. So B has the right to resign the contract. Before B resigned the contract, A sells the car to C. Here C buys the car in a good faith, and C has no knowledge about the fraud that was committed. Will C get a good title? The answer is yes. Will C get a good title? The answer is yes. Next is section number 13.1. Seller or buyer in possession after sale. Seller or buyer in possession after sale. Here this is from the point of view of the seller. This is from the point of view of the buyer. Right? Right? Now look at this. 31 says what? 31 says what? A sells the car to B. A sells the car to B. But still the car remains in the possession of A. A has sold the car. The ownership is transferred. The ownership is transferred from A to B. A only is having the possession. B told I'll come and collect it later. So A has the possession, but the ownership is transferred. Subsequently, A sells the same car to C. A sells the same car to C. Now tell me, C purchases it in good faith. C did not know that this car was already sold. Will C get a good title? The answer is yes. Seller only has the possession. Sale has happened, ownership is transferred. Seller only has the possession. Now he sells it to another buyer. The new buyer buys it without knowing that the goods were already sold, that the seller does not have the authority, and he buys it in good faith. Will he get a good title? Yes. Now from the buyer's point of view, you see, A agrees to sell a machine. A agrees to sell a machine to B, but the ownership of the machine is to pass to B only after full payment. A agrees to sell it to B, but A is telling ownership will pass to you only when you make the full payment, when full and final settlement is made. With A's consent, B takes the possession. B tells, okay, I'll make the payment. Okay, I'll make the full payment. Till then, let me use it. Let me have the possession. Once I make the full payment, I will become the owner. B takes the possession of the machine. Before making the full payment, B sells the machine to C. He has not yet made the full payment. Ownership will pass only when he makes the full payment. Before that itself, he sells it to C. C takes the delivery in good faith without having the knowledge. Will C get a good title? The answer is yes. Will C get a good title? The answer is yes. So this is all the section from 28 to 30. These are all the important sections that you have in this particular unit. Still there's 31 to 44, but those are all miscellaneous except section 44. No other section length. There's question that has been asked before in the exam. However, I'll cover all of them. Okay, let's not leave anything. I'll cover all of them in the next revision video. For now, make sure that you complete this. If you're done up till section number 30, the major part, almost 95% of your unit number 3 is complete. That other 5% which is there, that I'll complete in the next video, and in that also only 44 is important. Others are miscellaneous sections you can quickly read and move forward, right? I hope you understood unit number 3 really well. Make sure you use the notes to revise it. If you want the notes, it is there in the pinned comments. I'll see you guys in the next day's video, okay, covering unit number 3, rest of the portions, and completing unit number 4, which is unpaid seller.